In college, I had an experience of the most boring man that I ever encountered, I think. He was a good man, a well-known professor, actually. John Julian Ryan was his name. He taught literature, and he taught kind of a general overview of Western culture. And in that class on Western culture, there were 200 or 300 students. And in those days, the professor had to take the roll. As soon as the roll was over, John Julian Ryan began to lecture in a monotone, which I'll imitate in a minute. And the students would begin to leave one by one, and he would never notice. So if a class began with 200, probably at the end it had 2 or 10. And I certainly shared the sentiment of most of my fellow students that this was quite boring. John Julian Ryan was something like this. You imagine the disheveled professor, tie askew, fly open, jacket crooked, hair disheveled, and there he is. Imagine this man just sitting and beginning to talk. One of the most exciting days in Western civilization was when the baker left his bakery holding a loaf of bread. At the same moment, on the other end of town, the shoemaker left his factory with a wonderful pair of sandals. The two met in the middle of the town and exchanged bread for sandals, sandals for bread. What a marvelous moment. You can imagine 200 sophomores in college, all men. It was an all-men's school at the time. What did we think of that? Nothing. It was, and the delivery was more monotone than I gave it. Across town, there was a girls' school, and I had a friend that I thought was very special, and this same professor taught the same course there. And somehow she was very involved with what he was saying. Everything he said turned her upside down, inside out, and just encouraged her to go to the length of wonderful thoughts. So I had a transformation, for Marianne told me that John Julian Ryan was the most exciting professor at Mount St. Mary's. I wondered about the others, but I had to listen to Mr. Ryan in order to communicate with Marianne. I learned more because of my interest in Marianne from John Julian Ryan than I learned from any other teacher. But did Marianne and I have wonderful discussions about baking bread and making sandals.